basketball for you right there. I have a ton of respect for Coach Collins and what he's done here at Northwestern. And, every single time we play them, doesn't matter where that game is, you have to bring your absolute best. You're not going to play perfect because they don't allow you to. But you gotta have resiliency. And I think our team really had that. We were really connected. We had some guys step up in a big way for us. Obviously, Martinelli's a special player. They have a lot of weapons that, you can't take them all away. But he made some things happen for him that was really impressive. But, that's what a fun Big Ten basketball game. Great way to start off the conference play for us.
What was the challenge trying to stop Martinelli? How many different options did you try to throw?
Yeah, we threw about 3 different coverages at him. I think he got it rolling early on the glass. That was a big thing. He was relentless pursuing the ball off the rim. And, he's really good at getting to the free throw line. You have to have great technique when you're guarding him. It's a balance of playing with, physical toughness, but great technique because he's so crafty. He's a vet. But, and then he got it rolling and obviously knocked down a couple threes. He could just score it at really every level. He's got great touch. So we felt like going in, multiple guys, we're going to have to cover him. We were going to have to give multiple coverages on him. But we knew, we weren't going to just completely take him out, even if we were playing our best defense. So making sure they didn't have like 3 or 4 guys have double digits or multiple big nights was critical. I think they ended up with 3 guys in double figures. So really talented player. I mean, I could probably talk all night about him. He's really special.
Over here on the right.
Coach, you had an advantage in points in the paint, 62-38. Team shot 57% from the floor. What were the ways that you were able to scheme up those good looks?
We felt like going into the game that the paint real estate was the game, really on both sides of the ball. And I think, some of their points were even more in the paint when you consider them getting to the free throw line. They probably had a few more. But for us, it was about attacking, getting there, and then playing with great poise. Not forcing up tough shots, getting them in rotation. We felt like this was going to be a game where we didn't want to settle for a bunch of jump shots on the perimeter, but we wanted inside-out threes. And, I think our guys executed it really well. Felt like once we were able to get them in rotation, that was the time instead of to settle, but to really attack again.
No? All right, we'll go right in the front.
13 points and 4 assists for Bruce in the second half. What is his leadership and impact mean to this team?
Yeah, it's really special because, I've been with him now for 4 years, recruited him, and to see his leadership, the growth of his leadership over that time has been really cool to see. And he embodies what we're about in this program, putting winning over everything. He brings it. He's not an everyday guy. He's an every rep guy. And if you haven't been to a practice and maybe you don't understand what I'm saying, like I'm literally every single rep he's going as hard. He's not a perfect player, but he's going as hard as he can, competing as hard as he can, whether it's a shell drill, whether it's live play. And that tone, right, that it sets for our team is really important. And then you can just trust him at such a high level, out there on the court. I mean, for him to have a double-double, 10 assists, no turnovers, a couple steals, I don't think he gets near the credit he deserves for what he does defensively. He is so disruptive, not necessarily in high steal numbers, but just taking teams out of their action. He plays with such a high basketball IQ. So we shouldn't, I guess, he does this so well, so often that we shouldn't take it for granted. He's a really, really special player. I think he's one of the best guards in the country, and we're fortunate to have him and his leadership.
When they were up about 9 points right after the 16-minute mark, after that you guys went on a run to kind of take the lead and kind of take control of the game. What are some of the things that you can point to that you attacked or some things you did to kind of go on that run?
Well, we stopped giving them layups and dunks. We had a couple really just bad defensive breakdowns coming out of halftime, which is something we've been really good at. But that's Chris Collins for you, right? Like I think he's such a gifted X's and O's coach, and we didn't execute our coverage near as well as we needed to. And when you do that against this team, they make you pay. So we went back to protecting the paint better. I thought we had a major stretch of doing a much better job on the glass. I think that played a role. And then on the flip side, we took care of the ball. We did a better job taking care of the ball there for stretches in the second half where we were able to get good looks, get the ball in the paint, get to the free throw line ourselves. I think that helped us.
The defense has been a persisting issue for Northwestern. I think they've given up 77 or more points to their past 6 opponents. What was it about the paint battle specifically that you thought you could exploit and find success in when looking at Northwestern's body play?
Yeah, we just felt that we could, they're really good on that initial paint touch, and we felt like we had to fight to get another one, and we knew it was going to be hard, but we couldn't settle offensively, and they forced us to settle a couple times, but I think one of the things that popped on film was the pace and the number of possessions they have. So, sometimes points per game, right, is influenced by that. But, it's early for all of us, and I think we're all trying to, settle into what really sets our team up to be the most successful. They're a really hard guard. And the pace that they're playing at is creating those more possessions that maybe they haven't had in the past, and that might be a little bit why the score is up a little bit. And I think for us, both of us at times haven't rebounded the ball at the level we need to, and so they did a pretty good job. I felt like on the defensive glass tonight, felt like that was an area we could get some extra possessions, and to their credit, I thought they did a good job.
Coach, Brandon Knoll had 29 points today, season high. How were you guys able to get him open for so many opportunities?
Yeah, well, I thought he really just really first I'm proud of Brandon. He didn't play very much against Pitt. He didn't play particularly well, and he and I had a conversation, early on in the week, and he needed some clarity on where that production was going to come from, and we talked that out, and it was a great conversation. And the way he practiced this week was like, now I didn't know he was going to have 29 and 7, right? But you just knew he was going to play well because he earned the right to play well. And we played him a little bit more at the center position, which I think he's able to use his athleticism, ability to drive it, and that helped some, but. When he was able to get active on the glass and he was able to finish and get some easy looks in transition, I think that just kind of unlocked, the rest of the game. But he did a great job there in that, kind of middle tunnel of our offense. But make no mistake, he had the best week of practice he's had since he's been there, and it's not an indication of him not practicing well. He's been pretty good all year, but he took it to another level. And I guess my expectations for him in practice went up significantly moving forward.
You mentioned just kind of settling in and kind of find out what works. How important are these early Big Ten games to kind of settle in and find what works?
Yeah, so I think going into the game, like we had to have a baseline, right, a foundation of what we were going to do on both sides of the ball. But when you go against Chris Collins and Northwestern, if you think you're just going to ride that out the whole game without making adjustments, like that's not happening. So we've settled in, I think, on some pretty consistent ball screen coverages that our guys have really done a good job with. We've gotten better at protecting the paint. That was important too. But this was a game where obviously you saw we sprinkled in some zone, we sprinkled in like a little bit of press. We went over a lot going into this game, so we felt like we were going to need it because that's the level of respect we have for him and his program. But I think we got a good foundation, as I'm sure they do too, and most teams. But you're now trying to figure out anticipate the right adjustments, what you need, and those adjustments may vary from game to game. And in this league, it's every night. There is like you gotta be ready to go, physically, mentally, and ready to adjust every single night in the Big Ten. It's the best league in the country, in my opinion, and I think that'll show up all year long. All right, thanks guys. Have a good night.